Hey everybody, welcome on in. Crystal here, also known as Skuldsbane all across the internet. If you're new here, thank you for pushing play and deciding to join me today. It really means a lot. If you're not new, welcome back. Glad to see you again. This is going to be floss tube number 13. There's not nearly as much as I had last time. It has been, we have the holidays, or the holidays that we celebrate. Happy Hanukkah for those of you celebrating Hanukkah. And for those of you still celebrating other holidays I may not know about, I apologize. I don't know everything. Or rather, I know everything, just not all at once. And usually the things I know are things that have absolutely nothing to do with the conversation happening in the moment. Such is the life. So a floss tube is just talking a lot about cross stitch and things related to that, and that's what we're here for today. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on in with what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Not in any particular order except for the last few because there's a story behind them. So one of the first things that I worked on, I apologize for the glare. I'm trying to get all the lighting worked out and it just never quite works. Is a stocking here. It's the Snowman and Friends stocking. There you go. Good job focusing. And I am doing stockings for 5 people. I'm doing one for myself, one for the other half known as the man thing, one for his sister, and one for each of his parents. So this one is going to be the one for the man thing. And this is where I'm at so far. Still got a lot of work to go, a lot to do on it, but I've gotten all of this filled in. I did some work down here. I didn't do a whole lot. I only got a few stitches in on this one, but I'm working on it. What else did I work on? There was more. Oh, some of the lighter blue up in this area as well. There we go. Did not get a whole lot of work done on this. That's okay. The goal is to have all 5 stockings completed by the holiday season 2025 so that they can be hung and used this coming year. I'm also going to apologize. You're going to be hearing a lot of crunching and rattling in bags and zippers and everything else because if I don't put things away, I will not know. Organization is not my strong suit when it comes to these things. It's okay. It still works for me. Stored in the same bag is this one. So when I pull the bag out, I choose one and then the other. This is the first long dog that I've ever worked on. This is Pavane for these times. And whoop, stay. Good paper. Yes, I talk to inanimate objects. This is where we are at there. Let's see where I was. I was working on this side over here, so I finished off that element and I did a little bit of the side, and then I started working somewhere else. And I don't remember where. I think it was down here. Or maybe I got stuck deciding where I should move next and then just didn't. I honestly don't remember. This is one of the first projects that I worked on in the last couple of weeks, and I've slept since then. This is being done on a 37 count Cloudburst Legacy Linen, and the stitching is done 1/2 with a quilting thread from Coats and Cotton, or I'm sorry, Coats and Clark, not Coats and Cotton, Coats and Clark, because I have you can't see them. They're hiding behind some of my stuff up here, but I have so many. I'm one of those people that when JoAnns has a sale on thread, I will go and I'll buy 4 or 5 spools of quilting thread because I will use them for cross stitch. I do quilting. I use them for sewing. Just depends on what I'm doing. But because I do a lot of historical reenactment, I don't like using the polyester threads because it doesn't feel the same to me personally, and I'm just that way. Oh, get in there. So I use the cotton threads and the quilting cottons for the quilting cotton threads are just amazing for that. All right, what do we have next? My wrist just popped. Okay. This is Dark Forest 2. I'm going to be putting a picture up here. Let me actually pull my little book out so I can give you information on fabrics and stuff too. If I find the page, it's in here, I promise. Here we go. It's by Banana Patterns, found on Etsy. This is just an 18 count Aida and all the called for DMC. And here we go. That is the full width. I obviously did not start in the right place. I'm very bad at measuring fabric. That involves math, and I don't math very well. I'm a historian, not a mathematician. Historians liking numbers, it's a lie. It's a lie. But I did a lot of work in this area, getting in like some of the yellows, and especially the greens is what I worked on, some of those lighter greens. So you can see a lot better now than what you could last time. Number one, the lighting is better. I do have all my lamps and everything back up. So you can see some of the yellows that I put in last time that you couldn't really see before, and the greens in here and on this side. And that's what was put in. Based on what I have written down here, I am at 3.49% complete with 5,202 stitches done. This is going to be a long haul. This is one of those, I do have a video coming out tomorrow. I jokingly called it the State of the Skulds Address, and it explains a lot of what's been happening, but also a lot of what I'm doing to counteract pretty much everything. And things will have to progress a little bit at a time, and that does include things like buying floss for this project a little bit at a time and replenishing each color as needed. It's not fully kitted up, and it will not be until I buy the last color. So that's the way that's happening, and that's fine. This has been one of my favorites to work on. It just makes me giggle every time I work on it. Get back in there, thread. This is Erica Michaels, Be Like a Crow. Let me find the cover. Where are you at? Nope. You see what happens when I don't put everything back in order? Y'all have to wait for me. I'm sorry. There you are. Alright. And I'm just working on that main one right there, the Be Like a Crow in the frame. I will eventually get around to all of the, like the berry and all the smalls and everything else, but for now I'm working on that big one. Got quite a bit of this one done. And I know I was going to have to change blacks in the middle of it, and I did get to where the mascara ran out because I purchased everything that was needed from 1-2-3 Stitch, and then I did not read the instructions, so I'm doing full cross instead of 10th stitch. And that's okay. I actually really like the full cross. I like the fill in much better. When I went to the local needle shop to get more of the Weeks mascara, they were actually out. So I ended up getting, what did I get as a replacement? Was it weeks? Yeah, it was weeks. I think it was either weeks or gentle art, but I ended up getting Black Crow, gentle art Black Crow. It has a slightly more blue tinge to it, and I made the switch right next to the E and the Be Like a Crow up on the top. I can tell in person, but it's not enough of a difference to bother me, so I like it. It's going to keep going the way it is. And like I said, I got everything off of 1-2-3 Stitch. They do have the option to put all of the fabric and the floss and everything else into the basket when you purchase the pattern, and that's what I did for this. It just seemed like the best thing for me to do at the time. It's been working out well. It's a much lower count, but it is the everything called for on the pattern. The fabric itself is not a lower count, a higher count than what I'm used to, so it was a little bit hard for me to work on. I'm getting used to it now. And I'm just really, really enjoying the advice of the crow. Be like a crow. It makes me laugh. It helps me remember to enjoy life. And it's words that I would like to live by. Hop happily down the road for no apparent reason. Actually watching Corvids just mess around and play, because they do play. Good Lord, do they love to play. Watching videos of Corvids playing is just, it makes my day. Some people go to cute kittens. I go to playing Corvids. It is what it is. Right. Next one I worked on is Mirabilia Lady of Mystery. This is the first Mirabilia that I have ever worked on. I am not doing it on the called for fabric. It's the same fabric, or I'm sorry, the same thread count, and all of the flosses are the called for flosses. All of the beads and things will be the called for beads. I actually got a kitted up set for that. But the fabric is a mystery lime green that I got from Forbidden Fabric Co. And I think it's setting everything off really well so far. Here is where I am at. Now, last time we saw this, I had gone all the way across from one corner to the other. This is the full width of the pattern down here. So I had done all across the top, and now I'm working my way down this side. And I'm just really enjoying working with the silks. They're lovely. This is my first time stitching with silks, and I'm really enjoying it. Which reminds me, I know hashtags don't work. I'm still going to use them anyway. Instagram, you can pry them out of my cold dead hands if you're lucky, and I don't wake up and come after you for trying. But I am starting a stitch along on the 4th. The 4th is my birthday. I will be 47. And it is the spawning Sal, because I joke with my friends that I wasn't born, I just spawned, random spawning point. And the project that I have picked out for that will be done all in silks. Oh, look at that. Isn't it so pretty? I'm so proud of myself. I'm tooting my own horn. So happy with this. So happy. But that Sal I'm going to be doing, well, I'll talk about it later. Never mind. We'll talk about that in plans. Okay. Here next we have Sleepy Hollow. I was trying to point with the wrong finger. Sleepy Hollow. This is a Raven Stitchcraft. It's Sleepy Hollow, available on Etsy. That's where I got it. I was working on this for Laura Stitching by the Shore's pumpkin birthday sale, and I'm just going to continue using that hashtag because you can't stop me. Also because it's an ongoing stitch along. But this is done on 16 count Aida. All the called for DMCs. As of right now, it's sitting at 63.18% complete with 18,474 stitches put in. By the end of it, there'll be 29,240 stitches. That's an awful lot of stitches. And not as many as some, not as many as what I've got coming up. But that's an awful lot of stitches. I put in a lot of work over on this side, down towards the bottom, near the horse's leg, and like in the rocks and things over there. Most of this side is completely filled in. I've got maybe one color to finish off some of, like down in here, and a little bit right up there, and some confetti kind of next to that in the rocks and stuff here. But that's all just one color, and then I'll be able to really concentrate on working through the other half of this. This is one that I picked up for the man thing, who's my other half, because he really enjoys the Haunted Horseman and Sleepy Hollow Legend. It's one of his favorites, so this is being done for him. It'll get done eventually. Not today. Tomorrow's not looking good either. But he also knows this. He has sat and watched me work on it for a while. All right. Now we're getting into ones that have some stories behind them. Or not necessarily stories behind them, but things related to them. Okay. Nope, not that one. Next one. Next one. Where did you go? There you are. The next one that I worked on, or one of the others that I worked on, is Lena Ova's Dracula. Laura Stitching by the Shore and I have been hosting hashtag Lena Ova Sal, which, again, you're going to pry those hashtags from my cold dead hands. This is one of them that I started actually for the stitch along. I've also, apologies for the phone. I have also been doing Mary Poppins, and that's been really enjoyable. But Dracula is one of my favorite stories. It's one of the Man Thing's favorite stories. So we had to. I just had to. Here's where I am so far. As you can see, I worked completely in the box with the text. And that is the full text. I want you to believe in things that you cannot. I did miscount, and I am going to have to pick some out. I'm going to have to pick, fold. There we go. I'm going to have to pick the, it's not wanting to fold correctly. I apologize. Here we go. I'm going to have to pick the Y and the O here. And that is a cat's leg and tail and a little bat right in there. And those are all going to have to come out. The line that says you cannot is actually one thread lower than it needs to be, but I'm going to fudge that. It's staying there. I just completely miscounted where the Y and the O should be on the line, so they're a full stitch lower than it should be. So I'm going to have to pick those and redo them. And then I'm going to finish along the bottom and finish the border and put in, there's cats and bats and the moon in there. And then I'm going to go on to the next section of the pattern. And this is being done on Mystic Fabrics Olympia Opal Lugana. It's a 32 count. And the floss being used is Night Stalker's Calling, and it's colorway Hocus Pocus. I've not seen it on the Etsy store since I purchased the 10 skeins of this. So I don't know if it's something that they're going to be redoing and bringing back or not, but I love it. It's just red and black and gorgeous. This is currently sitting at 19.02% with 7,011 stitches put in, which is a little less than 7,000 in reality because I'm going to have to pick that up and redo them. Story to go along with this. So, some friends of mine, Nate and Elizabeth, or I should say some friends of ours, Nate and Elizabeth, they are, for our holiday presents, they are planning to take us to dinner and to the movies. And I asked, what about Nosferatu? We know you like the vampires. We like the vampires. And my first immediate reaction was, jump scares. And then about 2 seconds after that, I went, Nosferatu. And so we're going. And today is the 28th. We're going tomorrow to go see Nosferatu in the theaters. And then to go out to eat. I have put out the idea for a local Mexican restaurant that actually does, it's pretty obvious as somebody who grew up in the Southwest that the people who either started or are currently running this restaurant are actually from Mexico, based on what they serve. And I can get fried cactus, and that is something I hadn't had. We went there a month ago, give or take, and I was able to have some for the first time in decades. And I'm so looking forward to the movie because we haven't been to the movies since COVID started. No, I went and saw Barbie with my mother-in-law, and we had the best time. Oh my gosh. We were both giggling so hard at the jokes that if you didn't grow up in Barbie culture, you just wouldn't get it. But we were giggling so hard through the whole thing. But that was the last time I went to a theater. So I'm looking forward to going to the theater. I was doing some research, talking to Elizabeth online and doing some research. Evidently they have limited edition popcorn tins that look like the sarcophagus. I want one. I've been joking with all of my friends online that I need like 6 of them so that I can build myself a little crypt back here. They are encouraging shenanigans. We won't get them. We won't. But it would just be amazing. All right. Okay. 2 more to talk. 3 more to talk about. 3. Right. So the next one is the Autumn is as Joyful, and this is, I have it written down because I cannot remember. I've forgotten my own birthday before. It's just, I'm bad. Leela's Studio, Autumn is as Joyful, and this is part of the Autumn is as Joyful sale. And I was working on this. Laura, Stitching by the Shore, had hosted an off-the-cuff Zoom call, and I jumped in on it, and I was working on this while sitting on the Zoom call and talking to the wonderful ladies that were there, and we were laughing and joking and just having a good old time. And they were talking about, well, what are your plans? What are your plans? How many more finishes are you going to get? What are you trying to do? And just because you see the type of thing that I work on most of the time. And they were joking about, I didn't get my 50 finishes this year. I didn't get it. And I popped in with, I'd just like to get 1 finish. Just 1. This is not going to be a finish. But while we were doing this, I was working on the acorn. And I did all of that acorn while we were sitting there talking. I had to skip out a little bit early But this is being done on 37 count Cloudburst Legacy Linen, and it's both Anchor and DMC. I converted some of the colors to, most of the colors to Anchor, just because expense, it's a little bit cheaper. I'm going to miss having Anchor around, can't lie, just because of that. So some of the colors that you see in there are a little bit off compared to everyone else's, but it's coming along nicely. I'm actually really enjoying working on this sampler because it doesn't have the huge spaces in between elements that a lot of them do. So this has been a joy for me. It's currently sitting at 15.05% with 4,034 stitches in it. But because we were joking about, or I was joking about not having finishes, I just want to finish, man. Laura had to go and bring logic into the equation, which should be illegal in my opinion. It just can't do it. Out the door, not allowed. And she said, well, if you get some smalls. And so I thought, you know what, you're right. I should. And I was going to, I got distracted. ADHD happens, or I should say ADD. Either way, ADD happens. I got distracted, and instead of picking up, I was going to do some ornaments and some critters on ornaments for a couple of sales that have been going on this month. I didn't at all. Instead, I picked up the female of the species, and I thought, I can finish that one. I can get that done by the end of the month. I haven't gotten it done yet. I have not. I'm close, or I'm a lot closer than I was. She's starting to look like she's supposed to. I've gotten the entirety of the face done, everything filled in on the face, and started working on her hair. This is by Misanthropic Stitch on Etsy. It is called The Female of the Species. This is on a 14 count Unicorn Poop Ada by Black Dahlia Fabrics. I mean, look at that. Isn't it just freaking stunning? It's not quite as modeled as it's showing on camera, but it is lovely. It's just the best. The best. And I've told this story 100 times. But I saw the Unicorn Poop Ada, and I was talking to my friends online, and I told them I've got to have it. I've got to have some unicorn poop in my life, just because unicorn poop. And so, of course, had to find the best pattern possible to put on there. It had to be something fairly blockish, a lot of blocked in colors, and something that was going to stand out on the pink and purple. It's actually purple, not blue. On the pink and purple, and something that was possibly horror related, because I just can't do that, girly. I can try, but I can't do it. And so I picked out The Female of the Species because it had been on my Etsy wish list for a long time, and I started working on it. I have no idea what percentage is complete because it did not go into Pattern Keeper correctly. The background was showing up as stitches to be stitched. So I have no idea what the percentage is, but it's at 4,553 stitches. And I'm fully convinced I could sit down and finish this. 100%. Because all it's got is the rest of her hair, and a large portion of that up here, up to about there, is just black fill-in. And then it's got the sides coming out like so. That's multiple colors, but that's not big. And then as it's charted, the words, the female of the species is deadlier than the male, is done in 3 colors. I'm not doing 3 colors. I've changed that up. And instead, crunch, crunch, crackle, crackle. Instead, I'm using a DMC variegated that will go really well with the fabric, but also stand out. And this is blues and purples. So it will go with the fabric, but it's going to be dark enough to be able to stand out against it. So that'll make doing the lettering that much easier. And my thought was to prove that I could have a finish. And then that I don't know if that's going to happen, because I'm also doing the Heaven and Earth Designs 2025 Sal. For those of you who are not participating, the first part of the patterns dropped yesterday. So that blew working on this completely out of the water. Completely. Maybe I should work on it today, because my eyeballs are not recovered from yesterday. I'm going to leave it out so I can work on it. So, for the 2025 Heaven and Earth Designs Stitch Along, I'm working on a piece of Hieronymus Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights. I am doing it on the recommended 25 count. I'm doing 2/1 10th stitch. This is going to be a huge experiment for me, and I might end up hating myself by the end of it, but that's okay. So far it's going well. I'm learning things. It's fine. It's my first time working on 25 count. It's my first time doing 10th stitch. It's my first time working diagonals, and it's my first time parking threads. So there's a lot going on. That said, it's still in the hoop, because for Christmas the man thing gave me money, so I bought myself a hoop stand. Here is where I am. Trying to get it close to the camera so that it'll focus. That's where things sit so far. That is 1,027 stitches. I'm at 3.69%. The whole thing for the stitch along for this pattern is 27,839 stitches. So if I'm doing 1,000 stitches a week, I could get it done middle of July. I'm not going to continue doing 1,000 stitches a week, I don't think. Maybe it could happen. My eyeballs may never forgive me, and it's going to depend on how life goes. But this got in the way of my plans for finishing the female of the species. So Laura, I cannot tell you that you're right, because I didn't start a small. I wholeheartedly believe you are right and was going to try to prove it. It didn't happen. Then I was going to prove that I could just do it and finish something, and that didn't happen yet. So we may have to wait until next year and see how many finishes I can get in 2025. All right. That's what I have been working on. That is my new start. Obviously, I didn't have the pattern until yesterday. Shopping and haul, the only haul I've gotten is a little hoop stand. A little cheapy one. It doesn't quite hold itself up where it needs to be, but that's okay. It's just a little loopy. That's fine. It works perfectly well for what I'm using it for. I don't care. It's great. That's it. That's my haul. Merry Christmas to me. let's see, plans. I was going to talk a little bit about the stitch along that I'm going to be hosting starting again on January 4th. It is the spawning stitch along, spawning cell, excuse me, my hair is falling down. I'm just going to take it down. It's the spawning stitch along or spawning cell. And for this year in 2025, I would like some help in building a house. There's some information in the video that's going up tomorrow, and there will be some links and stuff. One of the links is for a GoFundMe that explains a little bit about the housing situation and what's going on. The construction has been completed, so that's good. That's been completed for a while, but we're still having some issues. Like, I'm sure when I do stitch alongs and stuff, or stitch with me's, and you can see that it's my arms are always broken out in a rash. I'm actually allergic to some of what they put in the water here, so when I take a shower, it causes a reaction. When I do dishes, when, you know, anything to do with the water, and that's a part of it. So I'm using everybody's energy and good thoughts and prayers, etc., 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 just as a show of support that it would be awesome if we could get out of the apartment, get into a house in 2025. So I am going to be doing the Sally Kratos. I'm actually changing up everything. Everything from the fabric to the colors to everything but the size. I think the size is going to stay the same, but I'm converting it into, I'm going to be using a much darker fabric, and I'm going to be using more brightly colored silks, so the end product will look more like what the original would have before all of the colors faded out of the silks that were used originally. So that's what I'm doing there. That's my plans there, and I would really appreciate it if you join me. I think it would be a lot of fun. Let me know if you're joining. My Instagram account is always linked below, so tag me on Instagram. Use if you're doing a floss tube and you're doing it and you mention mention it in the floss tube. Use the hashtags, because the hashtags actually still work, and you can search the hashtags on YouTube. A lot of people don't know that. It doesn't always work, but a lot of times you'll bring up some good stuff. So there's that. But yeah, help me build a house in 2025, starting January 4th. Let's see, I was going to start the Hayden sale on the 1st, but came out early, which is just awesome. It came out, and the man thing was out. He had to work yesterday, and he came home from work, and I was sitting there going, about this far from the fabric, and he came in and he looked at me and he said, are we supper? And I'm like, we are ordering a pizza. We are getting a greasy pizza tonight. You got paid today. This is our once every 2 weeks we get takeout. I'm doing this. And he's like, so we ended up getting greasy pizza last night. It was great. And I told him what it was, because he knows that I've been looking forward to this. I'm sorry, my brain just went and all the words went away. But I told him what this was. I told him that this was the stitch along that I had been geared up for, and I'd been working on getting all the flosses put together for like weeks, yada yada. And he's like, oh, this is the thing that you've been excited for. And I was like, yes. And he's like, and he's just, okay. In that case, I'm putting my headphones on. I'm going to go watch YouTube. I'm going to go watch, something on my computer. I'm going to go to bed when I go to bed. I expect you to be in bed at some point before the sun comes up. And I'm like, That's what you need to do. And that's what happened. He did not expect me to get up. He did not expect me to do anything other than work on that because I've been so excited for it. He was actually laughing at me because I was so excited for it. He's like, "You haven't been this excited months." Yeah, I know. So that's what happened there. And then I'm just going to keep working on what I'm working on. I'm currently not able to kit anything else up, so everything else that I want to do has got to wait for a while, and that's fine. I have plenty to keep me busy. I'm also going to keep working on, or I'm going to kick back up working on making a capsule wardrobe, and I actually need to work on undergarments, and I need to get a slip dress. I mean, it's not really a slip dress, but I need to get a lawn dress completed by March. I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. I can totally do that. And those are my plans. As far as life stuff, watch tomorrow's video if you're interested. There's a couple of minutes of this is the bad stuff. If you skip to, like, I think it's 2.5 minutes in, 3 minutes in, something like that, there's going to be a timestamp if you want to skip the bad stuff and just go directly to, this is my bright, shiny, this is my attitude, this is what's happening. Then it's on past that. And that's things. In the video tomorrow, there's going to be a link to my Etsy shop. I will warn you right now, there's next to nothing in it, but I also have, it's actually up right now, a couple of programs that I have running currently in the background because my computer now has a brain. I got more RAM chips and they're installed, so my computer works now. It has a brain. So I'm using digital art and a tablet to make designs, to draw designs, and then using a free pattern converter to create cross-stitch patterns. And they're starting off simple because I am not able to do test stitches. So I'm going to start with like smaller ones for real cheap up on Etsy because, again, no test stitches, and I'm going to work out from there. So watch out for that coming up soon. Other than that, yeah, it's been gray and kind of dreary for the last couple of days. The Man-Thing and his sister are out on a hike today. They invited me to go along, but I'm not quite up to being able to hike for 5 miles. I top at about 3. So they went without me. Aunt Linda, who is my mother-in-law's sister, has been down for a little over a week. She was supposed to go back yesterday. She was supposed to fly out yesterday, and the plane got up to where they were supposed to land in West Virginia, and the weather was so bad they had to turn around and come back. So she's back in the Orlando area for until some point in the future. We're not sure when. So that's what's happening there. Yeah, that's it. That's life. Awesome. So there it is in a nutshell. Thank you all for coming along. If you would please like, post a comment. I'm just trying to get a few more eyes on my videos to help grow the channel. I don't want to have to rely on charity or anything like that. I prefer not to. So helping to grow the channel will help me out quite a bit in the future. So please, again, like, comment, subscribe if you'd like, and I hope to see you in the near future. Thanks so much. Bye.